Emmerdale's been home to its fair share of extraordinary drama. But now, a very different kind of real-life excitement is on the way. For the very first time, this iconic Yorkshire set is about to throw open its doors to host a unique First World War centenary street party.
Everybody around the village is pulling their weight today. I want to get my bit right for Fred.
A host of Emmerdale's cast, old and new, have been on a journey to uncover the lives of ordinary people who made extraordinary sacrifices for a country at war.
I consider myself quite a strong woman, but these women were a different kind of breed.
Discovering the hidden stories of the real village which inspired Emmerdale.
Well, this is Joshua. He lived at the Woolpack.
Fred has turned out to be everything I hoped he'd be.
Finding some remarkable characters along the way.
I found the Clara's journey very humbling.
Alfred was such a strong person. I admire him, I must say.
The weight of responsibility on Joseph's shoulders, he's amazing.
And now it's time to celebrate these local heroes.
We can never forget what these men did for us.
It'll be a day of surprises.
Look who I found.
Emmerdale's armistice celebration has arrived. For the first time in Emmerdale history, the cast have taken over. Her character Laurel is often at the heart of the action, and today Charlotte Bellamy will be Master of Ceremonies. Mark Charnock, better known as Woolpack chef Marlon Dingle, is her new head of catering.
Lid on.
In charge of dressing the set is Emmerdale farmer Natalie J. Robb.
Look at this, it's a perfect tribute to land girls.
And overseeing the guest of honour for the parade is televet Zoe Henry. Inspired by the lives of people who lived in and around the real Emmerdale, the village of Eschalt,
53 men went to war from Eschalt. 4 never returned.
they've all been preparing for today.
Come on, you beauty.
Mark's cooking up a traditional First World War dessert for all the village visitors, in memory of frontline chef Frederick Brocklehurst.
There's more to this guy than meets the eye.
Oh, yeah.
An army private who lived in Eschalt, Fred was thrown into the role of battalion cook with no formal training.
It was court-martial.
Court-martial.
He eventually went home, he got married.
Everything he'd been through, he deserved his happy ending. I'm thrilled to bits. There's my boy. He's going to look over me while I try not to turn this into an absolute disaster. Everybody around the village is pulling their weight today and getting their bit right. I want to get my bit right for Fred. Let's look at this recipe. OK.
But with over 100 guests descending in just a few hours, Mark needs to get a move on.
Right. Rolling. Come on. Come on. Is that right?
Charlotte has also been inspired by another Eschalt lad, Joshua Booth, who lived and worked in the real Woolpack.
Did he have a girlfriend?
She's Winnie. They fell in love here at Eschalt.
All those kisses, Joshua.
But Charlotte's Woolpack boy would never return from war.
Joshua, along with 2 others, were killed.
Oh, no. Yep. That is lovely.
She's invited relatives from Eschalt to join them today, and she has one final surprise up her sleeve.
How you doing?
It's all relative, isn't it? I mean, yeah, I'm getting there.
So how many more have you got to make?
I've got to make 5 of these.
Are you going to have time? Because you know
I
that we are...
don't know if I'm going to have time.
No pressure, but get it done.
Oh, thanks for your time.
We've got a bit of a surprise later as well.
What? What does that mean? That feels like a threat.
No, it's going to be good. Right, anyway, less talking, more cooking.
Oh, my God.
See ya!
In fact, Charlotte's secret is going to surprise everyone. Someone from Emmerdale's past has come back specially for today. John Middleton played village vicar Ashley Thomas for over 20 years.
Most people refer to me as Reverend Thomas, or Ashley if you prefer.
Ashley? Isn't that a girl's name?
When I heard about this commemorative event, I absolutely wanted to be part of it.
And after nearly 2 years away, John is back with a special task: to deliver today's armistice speech.
I want to get this right. Don't want to do a disservice to the people who lived through this. Everybody made a sacrifice.
Not a single person came out of the First World War unscathed. By the time the armistice was finally agreed, well over 700,000 British troops had lost their lives, and more than 1.6 million were wounded, mentally and physically. On Armistice Day itself, over 10,000 men were injured before the 11 o'clock ceasefire. With a devastated nation grieving the loss of a generation, it was hard to celebrate. In places like Esholt, residents looked to their vicars, the centre of their villages, for guidance. John wants to find out about the vicar who served the parish around Esholt. He's come to one of the MOD's largest training grounds, Catterick Garrison.
Albert? Hello, John.
To meet military priest Padre Albert Jackson at his garrison church.
Please, have a seat and
Thank you.
let's have a discussion.
Yes, yes.
It will be a very powerful occasion and a very moving occasion, John. I do not envy your task.
No.
I have here a photograph of a chaplain from one of the villages close by, the Reverend Wincup.
Living only 2 miles from Esholt, at the outbreak of war, 40-year-old Reverend Richard Wincup had been ministering his parish for nearly 10 years.
Very typical of a lot of vicars at the time.
Yeah.
Because their church members had gone and joined the forces, they said, actually, I want to go to where my flock are.
Right.
And if that means at the front, so be it.
In 1914, there were only 117 army chaplains serving in the forces. But by 1918, Reverend Wincup was one in over 5,000. Leaving his wife Matilda, 4 children, and his pretty Yorkshire parish behind, he joined his congregation in the 6th Battalion West Yorkshire Regiment on the Western Front. But it wasn't just the terror of battle the clergy of the front line were forced to face.
The role of the Padre was not just working in the hospital, not just going to the front, but also writing letters home. There are 2 letters for you to read.
Okay. I hope it will be of some consolation to you to know that the regiment to which your son belonged has done magnificently in the recent engagement. Your son has died a very honourable death, and this is a very great thing to do. Yours very truly, R. Wincup. And it says here, less than 6 weeks later, he was writing again to the same family.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to do that, the responsibility and just the task of it.
It is moving, because every word you put on paper, it's a loaded word. It has to be relevant, but it has to bring comfort as well.
Yeah.
So those are important factors that you need to try and weave into your speech for that day.
Back at the village, the preparations are well underway.
Hey, Mark.
Morning.
Natalie has made traditional hay bales, especially for today.
Look at this, it's a perfect tribute to land girls. And thank you, ladies, for being my land girls for the day.
She uncovered the story of a pioneer in the very first Women's Land Army.
This is work that women didn't do at this time. These are really leading the way.
Inner-city teenager Clara left everything she knew behind to work the land and save Britain from starvation.
I've been very inspired by Clara's story. Girl power!
Absolutely.
Women! Make them into little seats!
The cast are remembering all these Yorkshire heroes in the village, especially those who died fighting for the country. In 1920, the unidentified body of a British soldier was laid to rest in Westminster Abbey, representing all those men who never returned. Zoe wants to recognise this moment in today's parade.
Here we have a group of 6 incredible horses.
Oh,
They were given the amazing honour of pulling the coffin of the unknown soldier.
Oh, my goodness. That's really moving, isn't it?
It is.
Over 1 million of these extraordinary animals also served on the front line, fulfilling vital roles and saving lives.
It's an absolutely extraordinary moment where these real survivors are honouring those who didn't come back.
So the centrepiece of today's armistice procession is Zoe's fully dressed military warhorse.
She'll be representing those 6 horses.
Right, I better get on. Thanks, Jeanette.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Oh, good girl. Good girl.
Before making his surprise entrance back at Emmerdale, John's asked Padre Jackson to give him a taste of just how powerful the right words can be.
So, John, I'm going to show you what it would be like to do a field service, which would have been what would have happened First World War, Second World War, even Iraq, Afghanistan.
Right.
This here is where I want to conduct the field service this morning because it's the ideal location. This is a sacred space. This is church for me.
John's taking inspiration from Padre Jackson and the work of the clergy of the First World War for his speech at the village.
So, gentlemen, I encourage you that when the going gets tough and you think, I cannot do this, lift your eyes up. Lord, help me, strengthen me, empower me. Help me to go forward.
The signing of the armistice meant the demobilisation of almost 4 million British men. After years serving in the foreign fields of Belgium and France, the boys of Yorkshire villages like Esholt could finally set foot on British soil again. And their homecoming was a huge event for everyone they'd left behind. It is this feeling the cast are hoping to recreate at their own armistice celebration.
There we go.
As the festivities fast approach, and the cast tributes to each of their incredible local Yorkshiremen slowly fall into place, it's time for the final touches.
We really need to think about getting to the parade. You ready?
Ready.
Come on then.
Coming up, the big moment has arrived for Emmerdale's Grand Parade.
You guys are ready, aren't you?
We are. Yeah. We were born ready, baby. Let's do this.
And John's Armistice Day speech.
Oh, come on, John. Get it right. Oh, it's such a lot hanging on this. It really is.
Over the last 46 years, this village has been the backdrop to 70 weddings, 41 births,
It's a boy.
and countless special occasions.
1.
But today is a first for Emmerdale. It's about to host its very own Armistice Day parade.
You guys are ready, aren't you?
We are. Yeah. We were born ready, baby. Let's do this.
What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
We've got each other. We're in it together. It's going to be all right.
Zoe, are you ready? Is your horse ready?
I think we're all ready, Jeanette.
Yes.
Each member of the cast is marching in tribute to their own local hero.
Good to see you.
For Bhaskar Patel, this is the culmination of an emotional journey.
This is Alfred Martlew. He was a conscientious objector.
Really?
He's invited the families of the conscientious objectors to join him.
Is it possible that we all walk together in the parade later on?
Okay, stand by, everybody.
Set up! Quick! March!
Since the very first armistice on November the 11th, 1918, the British public have taken to the streets in remembrance of the men who lost their lives. Lining this famous high street are the relatives of the land girls, the trench chefs, the frontline vets, and all those who went to fight from the real Emmerdale village, Esholt. Yet, while some villages lost an entire generation of young men, remarkably for Esholt, only 4 of their boys perished on the Western Front.
Well played, mate. Well played.
That was amazing. Well done. Well done. That was amazing. That moment that we came down in the parade and we walked into people laughing and clapping and waving flags, it must have been incredible when the soldiers did come back to Esholt and they came back heroes. It was really moving.
Whilst Emmerdale remembers both the fallen and those who came home, Bhaskar has asked to say a few words on behalf of a group who are often forgotten.
There's a group of people who stood by their principles. In their name, I would like to read a poem I know was important to one of them, Alfred Martlew. The Song of Revolt. I see on the morrow's mountains the glints of a golden dawn, the dawn of a day fast coming when striving and hate are gone.
Alfred was one of 16,000 men across Britain who refused to take up arms and harm another human being. Thousands of these men instead chose to be court-martialed and imprisoned for their beliefs.
Lo, out of the vastly darkness that fetters my limbs like steel, I can hear the swelling chorus that sings of the common weal. Thank you.
You've recovered from the experience then?
No, I haven't yet.
Not really?
We've been celebrating a really extraordinary young woman.
Yeah, clearly.
And we should remember all of the thousands of women like her.
These chaps were very courageous and they were willing to die for their cause. It is incredible to be part of this history.
Now then, now you like people who are dressed to eat an authentic World War I current roll. Go on, have a little, just treat yourself.
I'll grab that.
Yeah. How was it?
Absolutely wonderful.
Really?
Fantastic.
With Emmerdale's first Armistice Day almost at a close, it falls to John to find the right words.
Today, we gather to commemorate 100 years since the signing of the armistice. Emmerdale is a fictional village, yet it embodies the life of all villages all across the country. We've all followed in the footsteps of real Yorkshire men and women who live just miles from where I stand right now. the son of the real Woolpack landlord.
One of the 4 Eschalt boys never to return to his family. At just 25, cheeky young Joshua Booth joined the 500,000 men who lost their lives on the Western Front.
The young soldier thrown into cooking on the front line.
In horrendous conditions with limited resources, Frederick Brocklehurst and his 332,000 Army Service Corps mates kept 5 million soldiers fed.
A feisty land girl who seized her chance for female independence.
The actions of Clara Bill and the hundreds of thousands of girls slaving in the fields of Britain throughout the war saved the country from starvation.
The vicar who swapped the Yorkshire Dales for Flanders fields,
offering invaluable solace to troops on the front line and to grieving communities after the war. Reverend Winkup and the 5,000 members of the army clergy are often forgotten.
And the local vet who went beyond his duty to look after his beloved horses.
Joseph Habson was one of the thousands of army vets who saved the lives of nearly 2 million horses, propelling the Allied campaign to victory.
Hundreds of thousands would never return, and those who did would carry wounds that altered their lives inconceivably. Today, we honour those women and men. Thank you.